Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Series 12. That's right, welcome to Not Funny Guys Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch, and we have reached Series 12. Sorry, I almost said season. No, Series 12, and boy, we're off to a good start, okay? We are at Episode 1, Cured, directed and written by Doug Naylor, and this one premiered on the 12th of October, 2017. So let's break it down. So we open with the crew on Red Dwarf. They're going to play card games, and Crichton appears to be like mixing something in a mixing bowl. And let's just say the cat has the worst poker face, which is ironic because we'll come back to this at the end. This is one of those things about these episodes that are nice and tight and fun. In fact, what's even funnier is that he initially deals out cards only to himself. So he's not even good at the game, but he also has a bad poker face. And he basically assumes that if he only deals cards to himself, only he can win. So not good at this. So finally, Lister deals everyone the 5 cards, and then he asks which ones you're going to keep. Like I said, Cat has a terrible poker face. Thinks he has a really good hand. He's never heard, of course, of the poker face thing. And Lister tries to show him one. They redeal the cards to try again. Cat does this super awkward, like, leaning back thing. Terrible hand this time. He wants 5 cards when they get a signal, and so they go basically all get on Starbug, and they have this super weird like pumping action, all kinds of stuff. It looks like a cross between Han Solo and Chewie trying to get the Millennium Falcon going with trying to start your riding lawnmower and your leaf blower all at the same time. Yeah, pays off for them in the end though. This is good that this has this complex system. So they go and they're approaching a moon base, and they find out about this United American Research Station. And apparently, during the 23rd century, America offered everybody in the world a peace treaty, and anybody who refused the peace treaty, they invaded. Which really sounds like America today, so we're not off this. But they then were fighting a war against war, and this was the birth of United America. And this apparently is a moon base they established. No idea why. But apparently they do find out that it's full of tech. So they're like, well, maybe we can finally fix the thruster. They have to do this awkward circling pattern landing thing, turning left. And apparently now they're on the base. They're going to be stuck for a while because there's a sandstorm interfering with launching, and they'll give them time to locate what they need. But apparently they went on board. They discovered that the station itself was designed to be a place where they were searching for the cure for evil. And then they had this whole conversation about, the nature of evil, the lack of empathy, which means, not all psychopaths are evil. Sometimes they just turn out to be CEOs or politicians or bankers, the normal people we hate. But now they're convinced that the place, particularly Rimmer, is convinced that the place is now crawling with crazies. And so he's like, bazookoids. Well, we left those on Red Dwarf. And so do we have any gun? And apparently they did bring his staple gun. So they find the cryo boost and they find the names. Vlad the Impaler, Joseph Stalin, Messalina, Adolf Hitler, all apparently cured. Rupert Murdoch, not responding to treatment. A guy who founded Fox News and other things. They apparently tracked down the descendants of these people, and they used mitochondrial DNA to recreate them as an experiment to cure them. And this leads Rimmer to going on about some secret conspiracy where the Hitler they found in the bunker, or that was in the bunker, got killed, was actually a double, and Hitler escaped to Argentina. And they also learned that somehow memories are connected and preserved inside DNA, which is a very Frank Herbert Dune kind of thing. If that's your boat, I won't get into that. Otherwise, I'll talk your ear off. Cat quickly learns that Messalina was a deranged nymphomaniac, and he gets very excited about this. Rimmer finds a boot for Professor Telford, who was apparently the lead researcher, at least they think. The pod's empty. He was released, and so have the others. And apparently, they're all awake now. They were triggered by their landing. So the professor himself is played by Adrian Lucas. They joined together to have lunch with Stalin, played by Colin Coates. Hitler, played by Ryan Gage, who you might recognize, and I did too. He's the lick-spittle guy to the mayor of Laketown in the Hobbit films. Gross guy. Tries to escape, I think, at one point dressed as a woman. And then, of course, Messalina is played by Chloe Hawkins. While they're at lunch, they're having a lovely little meal. Vlad, played by Philip B. Small, shows up. He's late. And so Lister starts asking asks about the other scientists, and apparently there was a task force sent here to eliminate them years back. At least this is what Telford's telling them. Because the idea that curing evil was not something that, because it would undermine the economic structure of the world and how things function if they did this. Interestingly enough, everybody they're dining with, who should be absolutely revolting, are very pleasant. They, of course, are cured. Hitler is apparently a really good cook, and he then insists on taking a selfie of them all. Fun. Lister is working on an engine for Starbug when Hitler comes and brings him tea. Curious about his jacket, really impressed by it in its own individual style. They end up sharing the fact that they both went to art school, and apparently Hitler has now gotten to playing the guitar, which we know Lister does too. Really trying to charm Lister over, and Lister's like trying to get past the fact that Hitler is Hitler. Messalina, meanwhile, brings Kat some milk. Kat tries to put her off by basically saying he doesn't need her to come on to him and present him with a temptation, and then she tells him she's not interested. This actually makes him more upset, of course. Meanwhile, finally, Kat, Crichton, and Rimmer walk in on Lister basically jamming out with Hitler. They're really starting to get along. They pull him aside back on Starbug, and they're really mistrusting this whole thing. And so they learn that there's a protoplanet on course to collide with this moon and destroy it. And they have time to get out, but they have to leave by a certain time. So they basically plan to abandon all in the collision. And they're basically presented with an ethical dilemma about good and evil. Because the idea is they won't tell them. They're going to basically commit an evil act. But as they're discussing this, Lister passes out. He's apparently been drugged. Kat does too. Crichton is towered down. He's been hacked. And Rimmer shuts off. They come to in like some version of their worst nightmare. Rimmer looks like he's buried alive. He's got Hitler's lighter. He ends up setting fire. Lister is on a bed like something in a Bond villain with a laser coming at him. Kat is in the process of being drowned. He's worried about his dry cleaning bill. And Crichton is literally been decapitated from his body, and his head is sitting on top of a mop handle, and he can't mop. All their worst nightmare. Lister is the first to escape. He finds Crichton's body. He then gets the head back on. They then free the cat and get Rimmer out too. He apparently was trapped in a waste locker. And of course, immediately it's recognizable that the cat, of all of them, Cat has no empathy for Rimmer at all. And then they find Professor Telford unconscious, and they believe that the reformed evil people have done this, and that they're not reformed at all. They're still evil. That, someone among them is not cured. So they use this psychopathy scanner to find out who, and everyone is going to get scanned. So they walk in, they have this whole game of like, well, we didn't do this. So someone's not cured. So the scan comes in. Someone among them is a psychopath, and you guessed it, it's the cat. He's mad. He's actually mad that it describes him as being vain and all these other things, but doesn't mention him being handsome. They do another scan, comes in, and of course, it turns out the Professor Telford is the other one. He's out of the wheelchair we saw him in earlier. He cured the evil. The supposedly cured evildoers are actually androids. They were the doctors. He was the patient. And the droids, he basically replaced them and then dressed them up to look like these other figures from history. He rewrote their program, and then they're like, well, then why are you still here? This is coming. He's like, he couldn't get Starbug started. Offers to get the cat to join with him, and the cat quickly starts changing sides. As long as you promise him something, because, he has no empathy. He switches back and forth several times. Cat wants to then insist he wants to be the one to kill the crew, his former crew now, convinces Telford to give him the gun. He then shoots Telford in the face. And then declares he's hungry. And then brags, that's a poker face. Simple, tight little episode. Very fun. These are the things this is the stuff I love. We've got these absurdist little philosophical ideas trickling in. This nice little pseudoscience on the side. Well, not pseudoscience, but like scientific, like layman stuff playing around here. Great sci-fi comedy. Let's just say that. And then the whole tie back to the poker face. Love it. The next time we'll be into Siliconia. But until then, I want to encourage everybody to like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Help us out here. I know we're getting near the end, and as I've said it before, I don't want it to end. We'll be doing some stuff, but I'm looking for ideas from you. So you can write us. You check the socials or in the ticker below. You can write us at notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Let us know your ideas and things that you like, things you don't like, things you'd want to see us doing differently. But like I said previously, I want to do some rankings with this. We'll be moving on to news radio. I know we're going to do that. Last time Joe Rogan was funny, and Andy Dick too. And the last time we got to see the great Phil Hartman, really, which is tragic. But we will appreciate it for all it's worth. But in the meantime, like I was saying, we'll do some rankings. I'm thinking about maybe doing some shorts on YouTube, maybe some stuff over on the TikTok channel. But I want to hear from you guys what you think about that. In the meantime, if you want to check out any of our other Not Funny Guys milieu stuff, we have 3 other podcasts. We have our main podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Off the Reels, where we talk about films. We talked about the TV shows over here, but that's where we talk about the films. We've been experimenting and dabbling with a little YouTube stuff. So if you see on this channel a Not Funny Guys episode, that is our last episode covering Batman 66. We're working on the live action Batman films right now. So if you want to check that out, you like that, we might do more of it. We're thinking about doing a test run, so you may see some more intermixing of some of our movie stuff from that main podcast here. Additionally, my Not Funny colleagues, Casey and Eric, who we all work on the main pod together, they have another pod, Not Funny Guys Presents Wrestling with the Horror of It All, where they talk about wrestling and horror films, mainly WWE wrestling and horror films. They've been working through a bunch of stuff. They're back recording. And if that's not your cup of tea, you can come check out our other podcast with me, Dr. John, and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, and Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, where we talk about culture, AI, anything academic, things we're thinking about. I have a solo episode that should be coming out soon. By the time you see this, it should be up. But I will be doing a solo episode over there, talking a little bit about my continued annoyance with Nick Shirley and his choppy, lazy arguments. And then next week, we'll have 2 episodes next week where we have a 2-parter talking about anti-Semitism. So, if that's something that teases or sounds interesting to you, come on by and check that out as well. Otherwise, in the meantime, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, remember, don't be a smeghead, keep it not funny, and I'll see you then.